I don't begrudge people having more money. I do begrudge billionaires. But a lot of the times when people will make the comment about rich people keep me working, I never work for a poor person, a lot of times when those comments are made, I think it discounts the value of the labor. Like Walmart feels that they want to have greeters at their front door. They feel that greeters make Walmart successful. Walmart's stock people. They need stock people. Without stock people, they would not be as successful. Cashiers. Anybody else that is an employee of Walmart is necessary for Walmart to exist. So why are conservatives so likely to discount the value of the labor that they provide and supply to their employers when their employers need their labor in order to make their money? And that's what employers want. That's especially conservative employers. Conservative employers want you to think that you're beholden to them and you owe them. And if it wasn't for them, that you would be nothing. When in reality, if it wasn't for you doing a good job, if it wasn't for you providing your effort and your labor to create the products or services that your bosses are wanting to provide to the people to sell in the open market, if it wasn't for you and your labor, it wouldn't get done. But they don't want you thinking that. And there's a whole bunch of topics that I could talk about when it comes to how we as Americans specifically don't value the worth of our labor in the entire process. Take, for example, healthcare and the arguments made over conservative employers not wanting to pay for certain things. Like, let's say you work for Hobby Lobby and you wanted to get oral contraception coverage. Well, Hobby Lobby, Burrell versus Hobby Lobby, another horrible ruling by Sam Alito said that Hobby Lobby wouldn't have to provide coverage. Well, Hobby Lobby is not the one providing coverage. Hobby Lobby is not the one paying for those birth control pills. It is the labor that you provide as an employee to Hobby Lobby or anybody else. Your labor is paying for every single cost to employ you. And every single cost to employ you includes things like your salary, your benefits, and anything else that's incurred by them hiring an additional person, like the square footage of your workspace. Let's say you have a desk, and if you could monetize that square footage, like, you have a certain amount of employees, you need a certain amount of space, so you rent a certain amount of area out, or whatever. Your work helps pay for that area. Your work helps pay for the salary you get. Your work helps pay for the benefits. So, just like an employer shouldn't be able to tell you that you can't take your salary and then go use your salary to go buy a birth control pill, they also shouldn't be able to tell you that your benefits can't provide you with birth control pills because your labor that paid for your salary also paid for those benefits. And to say that it's any other way is falling into the trap that the corporatists, that the ownership class wants you to feel about your labor. But if we collectively, as people who provide labor to the people that own these businesses, were to stand up and say, no, all of these things that you are providing us on our paychecks or even not on our paychecks, all of these things are things that I've earned through my labor, and as such, you shouldn't get to tell me how it gets spent. And if you do, we're not going to work for you. Then they would change their attitudes real quick. But that's why conservatives don't like when labor organizes, because when labor organizes and get together, they can accomplish good things for labor. But that's why these people would rather see people who are part of the working class fighting amongst each other on other topics and other issues. Like, your boss can't tell you, don't go buy this candy bar or whatever. They can't tell you to not spend your paycheck how you want to spend your paycheck. So they shouldn't be able to tell me how to use my benefits either. And there's many other examples that I've talked about on the show over the years that I've had this show. And at the end of the day, things won't get better labor-wise unless we all embrace the idea that our labor is needed by the people that employ us. David says, Walmart helps older retired people out of the kindness of their heart? No. They feel that their business model is improved by having a greeter, by hiring an older member of the community to stand by the front door and say, hey, welcome to Walmart. They feel that they might make less money if they were to have no greeters. And I'm sure if they did some sort of investigation and study or whatever into their bottom line, and it was determined that the greeters did not add to their bottom line, that they would then immediately fire the greeters the next second. They wouldn't be like, oh, well, if we fired all the greeters, we'd make more money, but we're just going to keep them hired anyway because we're good people out of the goodness of our kindness of our hearts. No, that wouldn't happen at all. No, I have no thoughts in my head that would tell me that Walmart or anybody else for that matter, especially billion-dollar corporations, would be like, yeah, we're going to continue hiring these people even though we don't need them because we're altruistic. It just would never happen. Not one bit. Never. So yes, Walmart slave drives the old people. I didn't say that they were slave drivers of the old people. I'm just saying that Walmart believes that the labor that is provided by those older people, like the greeters or whatever, that labor that they provide improves their business model, that it makes them more money. And that's why they have them. They're not just hiring people out of the goodness of their hearts. Exactly. Trucker John says, consumers make people rich. Yep. Without consumers. Okay. But that's one of the main differences between conservatives and liberals as well, is conservatives are more likely to embrace supply side economics, and liberals are not going to embrace supply side economics. Conservatives think if you build it, they will come. Liberals are like, no, it's demand for goods and services that drive where businesses open and what business decisions are going to make. And you see this a lot in the discussion of whether or not, where people open abortion clinics, because conservatives will often try and make the argument that abortion clinics target black communities because they're racist, because Planned Parenthood is racist, because Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. Now, Margaret Sanger was a horrible eugenicist, and Planned Parenthood has specifically, outwardly on their own website, has said, we do not endorse the eugenicist ideas of Margaret Sanger. But they are not opening up abortion clinics in black communities to create the demand for abortions. They're opening, the only reason anybody would open a business or a clinic or anything else in any sort of area would be because they did a market study and determined that the highest demand for the services or the items that are produced by this organization, company, clinic, whatever, are in most demand in this particular area. And so then they go find a place to build their clinic or whatever in that area. And then they meet the demand that's already existing for the service in that area. But conservatives typically don't buy that and will typically make the opposite argument. David, now you're just being disingenuous. Walmart is evil. I didn't say Walmart is evil specifically for this. I'm just saying that Walmart isn't altruistic and they're not going. No business, no corporation is altruistic. Okay, maybe one or two. There is an organization here, and I think it's a nonprofit, so I don't know if this counts, where they will collect Mardi Gras beads. And they will, when they collect the Mardi Gras beads, and they'll take it in, and individuals with visual impairments will sit down at these tables, and they will sort the beads and put the bed together, maybe wrap them again or whatever, and then that organization will resell the beads, these wrapped beads, back to the Mardi Gras crews, so that they can whatever. Now, is this a needed organization? Maybe not. But they hire persons with visual impairments to do the work because they know that these people would like to have a job, and they give them a job that they can do. So maybe that's an example or an exception to the rule. But the exception proves the rule, right? So Tim Farrell, Khan is the only eugenicist I know. Khan! Well played. Well played. Let's see. Atrocious. I'll say Walmart is evil. At the very least, they're amoral. I wasn't saying that they're not evil. I mean, I've made lots of criticisms about Walmart. Don't get me wrong. I was just saying that I was not saying with the arguments that I was not making the argument that because Walmart does this, that proves that they're evil. That's the argument that I was trying to fight, or the argument that I was rebutting from David's point of view, was that just because I said Walmart's not altruistic, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that they're evil. Like, saying that somebody's not altruistic doesn't mean that they're evil. So, 250 kilo. Remember when George Bush Sr. denied calling it Reagan's voodoo economics when he joined him, and the media had the tapes before the internet? Yeah, that's when the media might have actually been useful and actually did their job. But then again, what was it? I mean, back then you could trust Bob Woodward to do the right thing, right? But even now, Bob Woodward interviewed Donald Trump during the end of, whatever, the first presidency or whatever, his first term. And I think it was, he interviewed Trump, and then he waited for his book to come out to release all this information that was damning against Trump. He put his book sales ahead of, delivering the news that we need. So again, media acting more like pigs at the trough, worrying about their next meal than worrying about just informing the people.